that was Friday night. Saturday, my brother and I are hanging out with Christy's son, and we're like, what can we do that's fun? We go to this place, Cosm, okay? It's in the Grandscapes. And yeah, it's amazing. We go to the Grandscapes, and it's basically like the Sphere in Las Vegas. It's not quite that experience, right? From what I hear, I've never been there. The Sphere is like all-encompassing. My brother Mike has been to both. But it's like you're sitting courtside at the game. Like you're literally, like you have a seat, and it's 180 degrees, I think the screen is, and the sound that's piped in is amazing. It feels like you're in the front row, right, of watching the game. And the cool thing about it is there's no broadcast feed, right? You are at the game. Like it's the at the game feed. And I believe, and I need to do more research on this, but the way that they do it is, like if you have the NBA ticket, right, there's certain like views you can experience, right? Like, baseline to baseline, or like, or should I say there's, you can do a wide view or like a tight view, like coaches would look at and think football, right? Tight, wide copy. You can do, and it's all courtside though. And so there's also like, you can people watch. And so the game starts and Mike, myself, Christy's son are there. We're taking this all in. And I'm like, yo, look, Mike, that's Peyton Manning. Like, it's like we're at the game, and like Peyton Manning is not on TV, but he's at the game, and he's in the second row. And I'm like, you feel like you're pointing out Peyton Manning courtside because nobody else knew yet, unless you're, quote unquote, air quotes, at the game. And I'm like, and then we start talking like you would at a basketball game. Like, it's that kind of experience. I'm like, we're like, well, why isn't Peyton Manning sitting courtside? Like, do you think, I was like, because he's got no ego. I'm like, he doesn't care. And then the more we looked, it was very clear, or at least this is maybe an assumption, but it looked like Peyton Manning was with, whether it would be his son or his nephew, like a younger guy that was right next to him. And then he had 3 other young kids. So he's got like 4 tickets, right? Or 5. So that's why he would be in the second row, because it's not him and his wife. It's him and 5 kids. And Peyton Manning, like, I would be watching the game, but then I would look and I would want to see what Peyton Manning was doing. It was crazy. It's like you're right there. And he was watching intently all game long. And my brother and I were so like, dude, Peyton Manning hasn't moved from his seat. And he's like locked in. You could tell he's just like a sports super fan, because when you're at the game, and if you're a Cosm, you feel like you're at the game, it's like you're there. So, Scotty, roll this clip. At the end, you'll see my brother. But this is a huge 3 at the end of the game. To be totally transparent, I bet on the Clippers. By the way, you want to talk about a good win, okay? They're down. I'm getting 2.5 with the Clippers. They're down by 5. And I think it wasn't Harden. Somebody hits a 3 at the buzzer, like a nothing 3 that cuts the lead to 2. And I win. So it was a great win. But here is the sequence before that when the Nuggets went up. I don't know if my brother was cheering for the Nuggets just to be a prick, but either way, check it out.
And here comes the screen, and watch Murray. And so they got it to him, and here they go.
This is
just tried true Jokic Murray pick and roll. Here is Murray down 1 in game 1. 25 seconds. Westbrook at 3.
So that's the experience there. And it's funny because I put that on social media, and a lot of people reached out. And because people have seen these clips like this all over social media, right? And people have reached out and been like, what was it like? What was the experience like? It was amazing. So props to the folks at Cosm. The service was incredible. It was really cool to experience that. Christy's son is not like the biggest sports fan in the world, but he was like talking about all the players. Like you feel like you're at the game. And not only do you feel like you're at the game, you feel like you have courtside seats, and you don't have to deal with all the parking and some of the other stuff. There's nothing like going to a real game, right? It's like, I would compare it to, we have Zoom AA meetings in today's day and age, and then we have in-person meetings. Like an in-person meeting is you're just connecting on a different level. But you go to Cosm, you can still connect with people right next to you, and you feel like you're at the game. Any thoughts on Cosm, Scott?
I have some questions because I've never been. I don't know how it works. Is it just one room, or are there multiple rooms?
Okay, so we were, as far as I can tell, there's a theater, right? Almost like there's one side that is open that you can have like several TVs are on.
Okay.
So that's a bar where you can hang out and watch games. I would think that's probably like jamming on a football Sunday,
Right.
or a college football Saturday.
Sure.
That was that part on Saturday afternoon to watch an NBA playoff game was basically dark. Like so, but you saw this huge other like area. Then there's 3 levels, right? That you can.
I've seen that in the videos.
Yeah. So there's 3 levels. There's like one level that's like really low. That's like, I guess that's like the most expensive, right? Then there was the next level where we were. And then there was another level behind us where you can almost gather more people. It's more like a communal area. But it still like is an amazing, and I don't know how much those tickets cost. Ours were $80.
Yeah.
Which is expensive, but it was totally worth it.
So I guess my question was, and you answered it, was like because I agree with you. There's nothing like going to a game, but I think for me the appeal would be like, let's say, so next year's the World Cup.
Yeah.
Here in America. I've got a buddy who's trying to put together a package, so maybe I'll fly to Seattle or LA next summer to see the United States play.
Yeah.
I will probably go to Dallas or Houston just to see anybody play, but I'd really like to see the United States play. And I recognize that's going to be very expensive,
Yeah.
and I need to start saving money like this month. But let's say I don't do that. I would think, man, if I can't fly to Seattle to see this game, I would pay to go sit and do that in Dallas.
Yeah.
And still get the experience because it's literally across the country.
And I'm telling you,
but
it's 1,000%.
If I
worth
lived
it.
in Dallas,
Yeah.
I would not want to watch a Cowboys or a Mavs game there.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather watch with my friends or try to go.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So
it does make
but
sense.
it surprises me, and maybe they'll do this if they keep growing. I would think for like NBA playoffs or like the World Cup coming up next year, you'd want like 3 rooms like that.
Yes.
Like pick your game.
And
Pay for your game.
There may be more.
Yeah.
I know this though, and there may not be because when we got done, there were a shitload of people waiting to pour in to watch WrestleMania. That was like the nighttime feature.
It's probably just one screen.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you've got to prove the concept, but like that's really interesting.
It's really cool. So there's a couple threads just from working in sports that I found to be super interesting, right? A lot of times in the NBA, when I was working in the NBA, towards the end, like around 2010, when I was doing PR, obviously we deal with all the beat writers. They were getting moved up to the second level because teams were just trying to monetize all the seats down low.
Sure.
And so writers were pissed, and crotchety old guys who are so used to eating free and getting great seats, and it does improve your quality of work because if you are down on the court, you can hear what Jeff Van Gundy, an assistant on the Clippers, is yelling to Kawhi Leonard about that defensive possession. So, I would even say, and no sports writer's ever going to do this, but, you could pay $80 a night to go there if they were showing, every Mavericks game or Sixers game. You could – and nowadays with, the way that NBA locker rooms are, you're not going to get anything in there anyways. So you could really do a game from there. You could write a column
a great idea.
Or a game story from there. I thought that was super cool. And I also thought as a broadcaster, when I watch those games, Ryan Ruocco is so cool. And they do pipe in, as you heard, the ESPN feed. And Ruocco is just dynamic. And Bob Myers, who I thought did excellent, was calling the game with him. And Angel Gray was a sideline reporter. But I like to watch them, what they're doing, and I got to listen. If I'm at a game, I just see what they're doing, right? I see the stats guy next to Ruocco.
Right.
There was a point in time where James Harden, this was cool. So this is behind the scenes here, inside baseball. James Harden had 4 fouls, right? Or 3 fouls really early in the game, in the first half. And so Myers is I would have to imagine that James Harden may not have fouled out all year long. And then you see the stats guy next to Ruocco. I love this stuff. Grabs the game notes and is ripping through them. Boom, 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 boom. And 30 seconds later, he hits Ruocco with the card, and Ruocco's yeah, Bob, you're right. He hasn't ever fouled out this season. And I was that's just I love that stuff.
I love that.
Yeah, it's so fun to watch. So I like that. So it was a place where you can take all that in, which is terribly unique.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. All right, we're going to take a break, come back, one last segment. Couple other things to cover, a little potpourri. We will be back, the Pete Souza Show, presented by Slovakics. Oh, yeah, I want to talk about the Lakers. LeBron and Luka my thoughts on the blowout that took place Saturday night against the Minnesota Timberwolves. We'll be right back.